Back in the mid to late 70s, I was at university and found that there really wasn't enough services in Northern Ireland like the services in England. And so I decided to come back and begin to set up services in Northern Ireland. I really wanted to work with people with mental health problems, and that was partly dictated by my having had some depression as a teenager, which hadn't been diagnosed, and I really hadn't understood what depression was in my teens. So that partly drove me to want to work with that group of people. Praxis started life as a mental health charity, but after about 10 years, the Health and Social Care Trust in Northern Ireland began to ask us to work in the field of learning disability. So we cover both areas. A young 20s, early 20s, and really didn't know how to grow a charity. And I really had to look for some advice from other organisations. And the one organisation that did give me that advice was Northern Ireland Voluntary Trust, which has now changed its name to the Community Foundation. And it was Hugh Fraser at that time, and Hugh just believed in the vision that I had. And that vision really was about helping those people in the community to live as normal a life as possible, those people with mental health problems. The grant that was given did make a difference in terms of the services that I delivered were very low cost, so it did make a difference, but the biggest difference was in his mentorship. And that made a difference, and that gave me contacts, and it gave me the confidence to be able to talk to the Health and Social Care Trusts. I decided in 1980 that I wasn't going to become a charity that was going to rely on fundraising for sustainability. I decided that I would take a slightly more business approach and talk to Health and Social Care Trusts about cost and quality, and they needed to be paying for that as opposed to the public paying for it. And that policy has worked. As a result, Praxis is, I think, the largest social care charity in Northern Ireland.
VOYPIC first developed in the early 1990s, and that was really against the backdrop of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child was being ratified, and also there had been some inquiries into the care and protection of children, particularly in residential care in the 1980s. A group of concerned professionals and social workers came together in a forum, and really then what they decided to do is to talk to young people in care. And so on the 21st of October 1993, a group of 57 young people and practitioners came together, and from that meeting the idea of VOYPIC was born.
Where I was living, they brought us to the VOYPIC, the very first VOYPIC conference, so we went along, and then at the conference they asked about people joining up for things, so I did join up, but I thought I'll go for one just to pacify everybody because it's probably just run by social workers. So I went along to the first meeting, which was to become the steering group, and 23 years later I'm still there.
Funding from the Community Foundation, or NIVT as it was then, was really crucial to the early development of the organisation. NIVT funded 4 care experience development worker posts, and that was really crucial in helping us lay the foundations to the organisation. It meant that children and young people were involved directly and had a direct input into how the organisation would develop and the support that it would provide to young people. We work and support over 650 children and young people each year, and that's through our independent advocacy service, through our group works activities, and through the one-to-one support that we provide to children and young people.
So by getting this funding, it gave us a voice, and it gave us the opportunity to make people see that, you know, our voice was just as important as anybody else's, and to have that voice heard. Because I think it's really easy to say, yes, we give young people a voice, we do this, but you have to give the young people the skills to use that voice, and that's what the workers did for us. You know, they helped us develop so that we could stand and speak in front of a conference.
Most recently, we've had support through the Community Foundation and the Build and Change Trust to explore with young people and other partners how we can improve their meaningful participation in review meetings and in their day-to-day care planning. Young people have to take part in very adult processes, and these review meetings can be really intimidating, but they're the most important mechanism for children and young people to have a voice and to be heard by those adults around them. So this funding has allowed us to reach out and work in partnership to make sure that we still continue, we don't rest on our laurels and we're not complacent, that we're still developing our practice to ensure that we're hearing the voice of the child.